Hello everyone, and welcome back to Humans in 5. As you might have heard in our profiles, both of us specialize in biological anthropology. Over the years, we've had a lot of experience touching human bodies, both living and deceased. This is something people have asked us a lot about over the years, particularly in the context of handling skeletal remains.
A large part of this is because today, a lot of people have a curiosity not just about human bodies, but about death. We are very divorced from both the process of death and dying in our modern age, which has left many people interested in the body and what happens to it after death.
This curiosity speaks to the popularity of blogs about the funerary industry, as well as opportunities to observe the dissection of human cadavers to learn more about the body after an individual has passed.
While we no longer have an intimate relationship with death and dying in contemporary Western society, this was not always the case in the past. One of the best examples of the close relationships families had with those who had passed is in a particular form of photography called living dead, or post-mortem photography.
In the early 19th century, photography became increasingly commonplace. However, it was still very expensive for people to take the time, tested and true family photograph. In contrast to the selfie generation of today, people often had only a handful of photos taken of them in their lifetime. Photographs were special, so in the case of a loved one passing, a photo might be taken to help preserve the memory of the deceased.
However, these weren't coffin photos or stills like you might expect from crime shows on TV. Since this would often be the one shot a family had at capturing someone's likeness, they would often dress and prepare the body of a loved one to look like they were still alive.
In the photo, the family would try to pose the deceased individual in lifelike poses, staring thoughtfully, embracing, or simply in repose, so that they could capture an image of how the family saw them in life, rather than as an individual who's died.
To people in this era, according to Mary Warner Marion, they preferred to capture an image of a deceased loved one rather than have no photograph at all. This practice remained popular into the early 20th century, and postmortem photographs are still taken in some parts of the world today.
To many people in the 21st century, this practice seems macabre. However, this began at a time where, to most people, death was simply another part of life. People in the past had a closer relationship not only with death, but with the bodies of their loved ones.
People typically died in their homes. Family members would wash the body, prepare them for burial by dressing them, combing their hair, and tending to them in often quite an emotional and personal way that would be part of the mourning and grieving process.
In this context, the idea of preparing and positioning a deceased loved one for a photograph to capture the memory of that individual, likely for the first and only time, not only seems quite logical and feasible, but understandable, as it might be the only way to carry on the memory of a life in the face of death.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Humans in 5, and see you next time.